Hello Driving Intelligence community. If you're like me, you probably have email subscriptions to a lot of high performance warehouses. One of the ones I'm subscribed to is Jegs High Performance, and they really fill up my email box sometimes too much. But there was something in the emails that I kept looking at and saying, man, I want to try that out, especially because of the price, and that's their high performance coils. These coils, when I bought them, were on sale. I got them for $99 plus extended warranty, bringing it up to about $125 delivered. That extended warranty bringing it out to about 3 to 4 years of coverage, no questions asked. I decided to pull the trigger. I've got a bunch of coils I bought off Amazon. I went the cheap route when a bunch of them failed right after I bought this truck in about 2015. So I'm running off the cheap junky coils, and actually I don't think I replaced all of them, so I don't even have all the coils being consistent across the engine. So in this video, I'm going to go ahead and replace them with these coils. They're rated at 15% higher than OEM. And I'm going to show you how I replace them, and also I'll do a little seat of the pants demonstration. But I won't have any dyno numbers, but I think it'll be interesting to see how these perform, especially having every coil being from the same manufacturer on this engine. Stay tuned. Quickly going through the tools I'm going to use for this project. I really like this tool set here. This is a universal socket set, so you can see how short the distance is to the head of the bolt, and the universal gives you a lot of good clearance. Without this, I've heard of people trying to pull the fuel rail to get to those coils, and that's just a ridiculous solution. I'll link this below, as well as all the tools I'm going to use. Obviously, you'll need an extension, and I'm going to use some dielectric grease to make sure that the new coils don't fuse to the plugs. There's already some dielectric on there, but it's not enough. Make sure you got plenty of that on there. Now, everybody, if you're going to pull your coils, check the torque on your spark plugs. What I've heard from the professionals is it should be about 25 foot-pounds. I've already got my torque wrench set to that. Various extensions with wobble ends to get into the tight places once again. But this is another really nice tool. Magnetic end with another wobble integrated into this for the extension. It makes it really easy to pull that plug out without it falling out of the socket. So I'll link this below, just like I said with all the other tools. You should get one of these if you're going to work on your 5.42 valve. One more tool that is highly recommended, if you're going to pull your spark plugs, make sure you blow out the spark plug wells. I've got a handheld can here, but you can use a compressor. I just didn't feel like getting my compressor out, but blow all that dirt out before you pull the plug. I'm going to start on the passenger side of this 5.4. A lot more access on this side versus the driver's side. I just need to pull some tubes and wires and things out of the way. Take off the throttle body cover. That yellow power steering bracket's going to come off, but that'll make things much more accessible. If you ever seen the modern F-150s with the Coyote engine, there's just so much room around that engine. I am thoroughly jealous. Now to get started with the coil replacement, I'm going to get out my old trusty LED flashlight. Forget about that. I got a new tool in my arsenal. Let there be light. This is an awesome light from NextLED that spans the hood, illuminating the entire engine bay. I'll review some of the features of this work light from NextLED in the comfort of my bar, because the temperatures in my unconditioned garage are just brutal right now. The unit comes pre-assembled and is made out of high quality aluminum and plastic. It ratchets from the center with a push button. You can open it up to various different configurations. I had it all the way open for the coil replacement of my F-150. The hooks on the end are padded and rotate for various different configurations, and the lights are also adjustable in there. Total light output is 2,000 lumens, which has a reduced setting of 1,000 total lumens when you're using the entire device. The lights are individually removable, they're rechargeable, and you can use them separately with hooks underneath the vehicle or elsewhere. And the light is extremely powerful. That's the highest setting. Sorry if I'm blinding you. That's the next lowest setting. And then it also has the feature of UV light, which you can use to find HVAC and oil leaks with the right chemicals introduced into the system. You can find links to this product in the description below, and while you're down there, please subscribe and hit that thumbs up. And now let's get on with the coil replacement. I've already had 2 spark plug boots difficult to get off. You can see this one is just destroyed getting it out. Here's an indication of the very little bit of dielectric grease that Jegs puts on it, only on one side. It needs to be all the way around, and there needs to be a copious quantity of that to make sure it doesn't fuse on the spark plug. This is what I want. That's going to make sure it doesn't stick to the spark plug in the future. Passenger side complete. I actually pulled all the plugs, cleaned the threads, cleaned the electrodes, and then retorqued them down. And that took me an hour and a half just for those 4 plugs. I'm glad I decided to pull the plugs because you can see it's got quite a bit of buildup on there. But it does look like it's burning reasonably well. I think this might be because I was running too much advance. It was pinging pretty bad at times. And I quickly got that resolved. I didn't leave it like that, but you can see how fast the damage can occur. Also, the gap on these plugs is big. I'm running the copper cores instead of the platinum. These run better, in my opinion, than the platinums, or at least that's what I've heard, so I'm going with that. And so I just need to clean this up and re-gap it, reinstall. To determine your gap, you should still have this sticker located under your hood. If not, you're gonna have to look online. But here you can see the gap, 0.052 to 0.056. Always reference this or a proper manual for your vehicle to make sure that you get the right gap for your spark plug. Now on to the driver's side. The only thing that's blocking that top coil there is this bracket going to the power steering pump. 3 bolts hold that on, plus this little cable holder. Need to pop that off as well. Direct access to the coil. With a few of these, you might find it easier to get to that bolt that holds the coil down by disconnecting the fuel injector electrical connection. And that's really easy. You just squeeze the top section together and pull it out. Depending on your skills, spark plug number 7 might be the most difficult to get out. The coil is directly under the fuel pressure regulator, but if you get that tool set that I talked about at the beginning of the video with the universal socket, it'll make it much easier. All right, so it turns out number 8 plug is also extremely difficult, maybe more difficult than number 7. I had to put together this type of extension, so I got a short 7mm socket with an extension that gets it just above the fuel rail. You'll need a universal and then a long extension to get to your ratchet. Here's a blow-up of the removal of coil and plug number 8. The short socket, extension, and universal joint rise slightly above the fuel rail. Here is the long extension attached to a ratchet, and installation is rather difficult because if not careful, you could drop the coil bolt and lose it forever. All right, I'm complete. The only thing left to do is to put that bracket back on the power steering reservoir and put my cover back on the throttle body. But before I do that, I'm going to go through and check all the connections around this because this was such a tight operation, you might have knocked something loose, and you don't want to be driving down the road and find out you got a massive vacuum leak or an electrical disconnect. I even accidentally knocked that cap off the brake master cylinder, and so that tells you how tight this operation was, but especially on this side, 7 and 8, really difficult. In the middle of a test drive with these new coils, and I can tell you that the throttle response is definitely improved, and the throttle input required to keep the vehicle moving is dramatically reduced. I was really surprised at that. But I also have to give credit to cleaning and recapping the plugs. They are the same plugs, not new ones. But I'm impressed. So I think it's running much better, especially since I'm not running with 3 different types of coils. I had 3 XL Super Coils, 1 Denso, and the rest of them were all Amazon cheapos. So I think that the vehicle is going to be much happier, and as the computer learns a new spark plug performance, it's just going to continue to run better and better.